everybody, welcome to my suburban oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a Zone 5B in mid-Michigan, and today we're going to be following up on the project that we just finished last time with a little bit more changes. Let's take a look at what we're going to do. Okay, so first a quick update over here on the spirea. It's looking pretty good. It's been well watered in. Tomorrow we have 90-degree temperatures, so it will definitely be a little bit of a test of it. You can see that I also came through and I added some heucheras in here. I just kind of divided some so that we could fill in some of the gaps where there is not bare soil, but bare mulch, and that will just help keep the weed suppression down. So I think that looks really nice in terms of adding a little bit of color around the base as this shrub fills in, because it definitely will not be filling in this year. It's more of a next year thing. But it's doing really well, and we'll definitely see how it goes over the next couple of days. Now, as we walk down the border, you remember that we planted this Limelight hydrangea because we want it to really grow up nice and tall, hopefully way up over the fence line here, create a small tree, and help to shade the Let's Dance Can Do hydrangea that's next to it. Now, as a result of that planting, I also have some area around the base where we don't have any plants, and so to avoid any weed pressure or issues back there, we're going to plant 3 neon sedums. And we need to, before we do that though, transplant this black pearl Heuchera, because this one is right where one of the sedums will go. And I have this space right here where, I don't know if you can see, but this Heuchera died. I was hoping if I clipped the old woody stem off of it that the small stems on either of the sides would branch out and begin to regrow, but it did not. So we're going to transplant this one on the right in between these two onions and in front of the hydrangea. So these are just some millennium alliums that are beginning to open here, and I think that's going to be really pretty, nice contrast. It's going to again cover the soil so we don't have to worry about any weed pressure. I do get Canada thistle coming from under the neighbor's side of the fence in this area, so I have to keep an eye out for it, and it just helps to have some things planted in here. All right, well, let's get started. So these should come out rather easy. Heucheras typically don't have very large root systems at all. They don't require a lot of water to stay alive. So they are excellent drought-tolerant plants. That one just came out so simple. Before I pull it out though, let's come over here and pull the little nub that is left in here from the other one. It might be all rotted, we'll see. It is a bit rotted. All right, well, we'll dig a little hole here. Appears to be the prior root ball of that plant. There actually seems to be some live roots on it, so it might have eventually grown back, maybe. Who knows? All right, let's grab it from over there. Now these dark heucheras with the dark colors actually do much better in full sun. So you don't want to plant these in the shade so much. They will not only not do as well, but they also will lose some of their color. They won't be as deep and dark. Now this won't get much taller than this. It might get a little wider as it matures, but this is supposed to get to be about 3 feet tall and wide, this hydrangea. So it shouldn't be, preventing us from really enjoying the hydrangea. This will also help block a little bit of the sun from in front of these roots, which it will enjoy. Excellent. Well, now we have this really nice open space where we can place our plants. So these neon sedums I have grown from cuttings that I took last year, and I've just had them in pots on my deck, and they've been wonderful because, as you can see in these urns, they are actually cast iron urns, and so they get really, really hot in the sun, so it's very difficult to find plants that will grow in them, roots that will tolerate that heat and sunshine, and these will. So these stay more compact than your regular old autumn joy sedum, and they have much brighter flowers in the fall. So they take full sun, and I think they're going to be absolutely gorgeous here. Now, I don't know about you guys, but once the garden starts to get established, I find it makes it much harder to work in for planting. But that's primarily because I do like to have such dense plantings and help prevent having any exposed soil or even bare spots where it's just mulch. So it definitely takes some kind of maneuvering of your body to get into some of these areas. This plant does not want to come out, and I don't want to break it off. Here we go. All right, there we go. Sedums don't have giant root balls either because they don't require that much water. And that is just a wonderful thing these days because, as you know, we've had so much drought here and it's just been so unpredictable. And they do fine if they get more water as well, as long as they're not, kind of drowned out here. I actually think I'm going to grab a small trowel to do the last two. We had just the perfect number of these as well. I was just kind of looking around my garden. I always like to plant things, if I can, that I already have and not have to go out and spend money on new plants. As much as I love plant shopping, and you guys know that I do, I also really like to save money and be able to garden on a budget. I think many of you do as well, and that's why you enjoy watching some of those clearance plant hauls. It's good to find a bargain. I think this is going to help lighten up this space here, guys. And back here, even though it looks empty, that's just because I clipped back the Sicilian honey garlic that is back here. So there really is something that is going to be back behind this can-do hydrangea during the early part of the season. But these will bring some fall interest along with the foliage of these newly planted Limelight hydrangea. Hopefully I'm getting the spacing right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do like it to be about the same on either side here. And it looks about right from this angle. So let's take a look at how this all looks together. All right, well, I think this looks really nice. And I love how the contrast of that light foliage against the darker foliage is, and just the different shaped leaves. And I think it goes really well with some of the other things that are in this area. And as far as the design goes, we have the blue spruce sedum, which is very much a similar color of the neon sedum that we have against this rock. And then we also have a pure joy sedum over here that is also a similar color. And it just kind of ties together and blends with some of the other different types of plants that are in this area. And it's going to be very, very easy care. These really, like I said, don't require very much water at all. We'll actually put up a picture for you now so you can see what they look like when they are in bloom. And we'll show you the hardiness zones. I think that these go down lower than our zone because I have been overwintering them in a pot for several years now. The neon sedum is, again, very much like that autumn joy sedum, but it just provides a little bit more color. It's a brighter pink. All right, well, I think that since I've gotten so many questions from you all over the last few months about what I do to protect from deer, we're going to go out front and I am going to mix up a batch of liquid fence and show you how it's done. Let's get that going. All right, well, first I will show you the two products that I use. I use Liquid Fence Deer and Rabbit Repellent Concentrate, and I just ordered this off Amazon. I believe I have a link to this in my description, but this is the concentrate and it covers up to 6,000 square feet, and its primary animals that it repels against are deer and rabbit. I do feel like it's fairly effective against the groundhogs as well. And then I have this backpack sprayer. This is by Chemo, and I'll just show you the other side of it. So it has straps on it, and it is battery powered. So there's a little unit on the side here that you just open and you pop in the battery, and then you turn it on, and that creates pressure, so you don't have to keep on pumping and pumping like you would with a hand pump, and it makes it really, really easy to use. And so I just have to mix this up and add some additional in there, and I'll show you how I use it on the plants because I like to use this sparingly. I don't like to spray on plants that I find the deer don't bother with anyways. So in order to mix this, you just have to unscrew the top, and I always recommend using gloves. This stuff does rinse off, but if you get it on you, you will be quite stinky. Inside there is a screen that is removable, so if you get little chunky stuff in there, you can always take that out and rinse it out. And then in terms of the directions, it's 12.8 fluid ounces for each gallon of water. I'm going to be mixing up about a gallon. I don't actually probably use that much because I think this has about 3 applications in it, and I use it a little bit more sparingly than that and find that it is effective. So after I pour that in there, then I need to spray the hose to mix water in. And since I'm at the bottom of this bottle, I'm just going to try to get a little bit more of it out because it is so concentrated. I don't want to waste it. All right, that looks about right to me. Now again, I've been doing this for quite some time, so for me, I kind of eyeball it and look at, what the water looks like so that I can tell whether it's the right concentration or not. But the backpack sprayer does have lines on the sides of it so that you can see how much is in there. And it has this nice chest strap as well. which helps with the weight. And I highly recommend, this is a 3-gallon sprayer, that you don't use 3 gallons of the deer and rabbit repellent because it gets really, really heavy. So anything more than 2 gallons is a little too much for me to carry around. And I just leave it in this container the whole time after I'm done if I have leftovers, and it works just fine. All right, let me show you what it's like as we walk around. So some of the primary plants, of course, are the ones that we all know deer like to eat, like hostas. And you can kind of hear the battery kick it on. And it is a little windy today, so I have to be careful, because what you want to do is, since this sprays such a fine mist, is you want to stay upwind from it. So it's a good thing to make sure that if you have wind out, that you pay attention to which direction it's going in. You don't want to get this stuff on you if you can avoid it. And it comes out in a really nice fine mist, so you don't see it on any of your plants. But you want to make sure to give them a really good misting of it. And I'm just giving you an example so that you can see. I just saw a deer and her baby coming through this morning, so they must have eaten these plants off there. That's too bad. So like hellebores, I try to avoid spraying those, but definitely get things like flax and dianthus, because they do like to eat these. So it's as simple as that. I mean, this really doesn't take me very long. It's definitely taking me longer because I'm trying to hold the camera. Normally I walk a whole lot faster and just kind of make my way through the garden really quickly. I also usually don't spray the boxwoods. And also I try not to do this when it is super hot outside during the scorching part of the day. I'm always trying to make sure that I hit my hydrangeas. I don't do as much spraying in this garden bed. I'm not sure why. I don't think there's as many things in here that they like, but they don't tend to touch things in here too much. And I'm hoping I don't jinx myself. But anyways, that's pretty much how it goes. They don't eat this. They don't eat the salvias. They do get the roses, so I do try to spray those, but they're not looking so great this year anyways, so they haven't really been eating them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's quite simple, fast process. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. It was super fun to get out there and do some planting. I feel like I've been on hold for so long waiting for the rain to come to be able to actually work in the garden and get some of the projects done that I wanted to, and I'm starting to feel so much better about it. It's great. And if you want any of the products that I showed you for deer and rabbit resistance, there should be links in my descriptions for you. Let me know if you have any questions, but I found them super helpful for me in my garden. Thanks again for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye!